Good morning, everybody. Mark Finan here in the Home Weather Office on this Thursday morning. Is now the 23rd day of May, 2024. This is the morning briefing coming to you from the Home Weather Office, and it is another beautiful day. Yes, here in Northern California, we are blessed with some terrific weather, and we are going to see more really nice weather as we head into the weekend, but there are, of course, going to be some changes, some cooler changes, and some of those cooler changes are taking place today. Yesterday, most valley spots are in the mid to upper 80s. Downtown Sacramento hit 88. The foothills are in the mid to upper 70s. Today's cooling will be subtle. It'll still be a very mild day with temperatures in the low to mid 80s in most valley spots. But by the weekend, especially the beginning of the weekend, temperatures will be noticeably colder. And there are going to be some parts of the west that are going to be quite a bit colder. So let's start with the satellite this morning. And what you'll see here is that in California, we have these high, thin clouds. Look at that. That's a sign that we have stronger winds and a little bit of moisture aloft. And they're just kind of creating some clouds as they go across the mountains of up toward the Trinity Range and up toward Shasta, and then high clouds drifting over Plumas County. But if I zoom out a little bit, what you'll see here is that there's this deep low spinning around here in Idaho and Montana. And I've seen some pictures this morning of Yellowstone and other parts of Montana with some nice snow on the ground. So it is very cold here for late May for us to be getting snow with this system, but it's an indication of how much cold air there is. And while we won't see snow or that really cold air in Northern California, we're certainly going to be not seeing, big time heat. So let me show you kind of a cool looking graphic. So this is the NAM, and what these are surface temperatures across the country. And if you just look at the big picture here and not look at specific numbers, you can clearly see the areas of red is where it's going to be very warm this afternoon, and you can see that colder pocket that's up here in Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming. That's this morning, and as we go through the afternoon and into tonight, it becomes, of course, more pronounced. This is first thing Friday morning. The model showing temperatures in the teens and 20s up here, but in the middle plains, you're seeing temperatures in the 60s and 70s. So very cold air. And if you just kind of go through the next couple of days, that pattern really doesn't change all that much. This is first thing Saturday morning, and while it's not as cold, you can certainly see the colder air here in the west and the warmer air here in the east. And then into the day on Saturday, that modifies a little bit. That Saturday afternoon looks like some pretty warm weather into Texas. But then here by Sunday, first thing Sunday morning, once again, we have that colder air throughout the western states. So let me show you how that looks when you look at the 500 millibar chart and how that all kind of comes together. So this is the flow up at 18,000 feet, and as you can see, there is this little trough right here with this low centered over Idaho, and so that's where the cold air is. And over the next couple of days, that low lifts out, but it's only going to be replaced by another one coming through first thing on, this is Saturday morning, Friday night, Saturday morning, and this brings in that cooler air through Northern California. And again, it's not that it's really going to be cold here. We'll see valley temperatures in the 70s. Really nice day Saturday, but just cooler. And certainly not hot as it can be at this time of year. And then that low begins to lift out, but there's still some of that cooler air in Montana. But then behind it, Sunday and into the day Monday, we get this flat ridge, and depending on what the surface winds do, we may see some valley temperatures in the upper 80s to around 90 on both Monday and Tuesday with that building ridge. But behind that, we'll get another one of these troughs that'll modify the temperatures as we get through the middle part of next week. So while we will see some warming, perhaps getting into the 90 range, which isn't that far above average for this time of year, by Monday and Tuesday, it isn't going to last that long. Now, if I look farther down the road, let's see, where are we up to? This is the 31st. So one other thing to keep in mind here is that it does look as though Sacramento will go through the month of May without hitting 100 degrees. And that's not unusual. We often go through May without hitting 100 degrees. We see our first 100s in the month of May in Sacramento about 35% of the time. So 65% of the time, it waits until June, and this will be one of those years. I don't think we saw our first 100 last year until the end of the month, I think. Yeah, I think it was that's what it was. It was the last day of the month last year in June that we saw our first 100. And then, so in terms of when we might see 100 degrees, well, we're getting out there, but this pattern here with that big high, and when is this? This is the 3rd of June. So we're well out there in the models, but some of the models are indicating we could see temperatures as high as 100 degrees by then. So in the meantime, this weekend and next week still looks as though it's going to be relatively comfortable, mild for this time of year, but we all know that heat isn't all that far away. One other thing I wanted to touch on this morning is tornadoes. And what I'm showing you here is a graph of the annual count of tornadoes with local storm reports. Now, this will later be edited because there are some duplicates in these and local storm reports. But what you have here, the red line, is the number of tornadoes so far this year. The black line is average, and then these other lines are other years that are listed here. So we were all the way through the month of April with just, we were right on average. We did have a spike in late April. There was a pretty big outbreak that we were talking about quite a bit on air, but that only brought the annual up to about average. And it's what's been happening in the month of May, this spike here and then this spike that have put the number well above average. Now, of course, this is peak tornado season, April, May, early June. But we have been seeing quite a few of them across the country. And I just wanted to show you this for reference because the tornadoes we have been seeing have been making a lot of headlines. And so just a little bit of a perspective here on how many we're seeing versus average. And what is likely going to happen is that we will see, it might follow this line, but what we'll see is a leveling off. So like I said, we're in the peak season right now. Once we get past, let's say earlier mid-June, you'll see that level, kind of that line level off. So you won't be seeing the big climb that we see here. But this, of course, has been a pretty brutal stretch. And our total right now is up to 870. And the average is 658, reading this number right here. So average is 658, and we're at 870 in terms of tornado counts through local storm reports. So like I said, that will be averaged out because, like I said, there will be some duplicates in here, but not by much. But that is the trend. So yes, we have been seeing a lot of tornadoes. This year in the dotted line, I believe is, let's see, it was 2011. Yeah, 2011 by this time. No, we had a total of 1,400. Yeah, so you get the idea that we're already at 1,400 by this time. So anyway, I just wanted to give you a little bit of perspective on tornadoes, and it does look as though we could see more activity over the next few days in the Central Plains. But again, we are in peak tornado season. But it has been a pretty active season, and unfortunately, we've seen a lot of damage and some fatalities as well. But again, I just wanted to give you a little perspective. Yes, it is an above average year, but there have been years that have been higher. So that's everything I've got for you this morning on this Thursday morning, heading toward the Memorial Day weekend. Make it a great day. I'll talk with you later.